Kuwait's efforts in solving the Syrian crisis voices full support for endeavours of the UN agencies to alleviate the suffering of the Syrian people. From that point, Kuwait hosted and organised the first and second International Humanitarian Pledging Conference for Syria. More on the following report by Hiba Abdulrahman.
The initiative of His Highness the Emir of Kuwait, Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah, to host the first and the second International Humanitarian Pledging Conference for Syria received a great deal of national and international welcome due to its great importance, while the Syrian people suffer very complicated living circumstances due to the fight between the Syrian regime and the armed opposition, and because of the destruction and sabotage suffered by this Arab country, the depletion of resources and lives, which all require concerted efforts to relieve the Syrian children and women.
As I'm here in Kuwait, I want to give a huge thank you to the Emir, who has very kindly agreed that to host the second pledging conference here in Kuwait. Thank the people in the government of Kuwait for supporting his call, and also to thank the Emir and the government for leading the way today, for making the most generous contribution that we have had.
The second Kuwait Pledging Conference for Syria kicked off with the participation of 69 states and 24 organizations at the initiative of His Highness the Emir, in response to a call by the United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon.
I'd like to thank the government of Kuwait, but mostly the people of Kuwait. If it hadn't been for Kuwait, this conference of course would not take place. But the generosity of your government, of your people, of your emir makes it different in children's lives. There are many children who have lost their parents, who don't know what is going to happen to them tomorrow. And if we don't have money, we can't get them the warm clothes. It's very cold out there right now. And so I'm just very grateful to the people of Kuwait.
Well, I think that that transforms Kuwait in a real humanitarian capital. It's very important to underline the leadership and the initiative of His Highness the Emir of Kuwait. Without him, this would not have happened. And the extreme generosity of Kuwait, pledging a very, very important contribution to the humanitarian efforts that are being made. And the Kuwaiti example is then followed by others. So there is a multiplying factor here that makes Kuwait indeed an extremely important leading country in humanitarian aid in today's world, especially when one looks at the immense tragedy that the Syrian people is suffering.
The international community hopes to raise $6.5 billion by the end of the year 2014 to aid about 9 million people displaced within Syria and 3.2 million Syrian refugees who cross into neighboring countries. Kuwait's initiative to host the first and the second International Humanitarian Pledging Conference for Syria sets a perfect example of what all countries should do in order to help ending the Syrian crisis on the political and humanitarian level. From Bayan Palace, this is Hiba Abdulrahman reporting for English News.